Are you looking to include more fibre in your diet? Do you want bread without additives or weird-sounding ingredients? This Sultana loaf is made from 100% wholemeal flour and is just glorious with butter. It contains no preservatives or stabilisers, but there are a few ingredients that might be considered unusual for bread. Let's make it. I'm using my really old Panasonic bread maker, but this recipe should work in any kind of bread machine. We'll make two versions of the loaf. Both will use wholemeal flour, but one will use regular and the other golden. At the end of the video, I'll show you the difference. We'll start with 400 grams of regular wholemeal flour. Some dry ingredients now. 2 teaspoons of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of ground mixed spice. Don't make the mistake I made, which was to buy allspice, not once, but twice. We want mixed spice here, which contains a blend of nutmeg, cloves, ginger and cinnamon. Now for the slightly more unusual bread ingredients. 75 grams of butter and 2 medium eggs. This is me trying the technique of cracking eggs onto a flat surface. Bit of a fail. Back to using a knife and spraying shell everywhere. You might think that these ingredients give the bread a cake-like texture, but they really don't. Remember that we're using 100% wholemeal flour, so the butter and eggs help with the texture. I'll talk more about texture in a bit. 110 ml of water and 110 ml of milk. I use goat's milk, which isn't a world away from cow's milk. Now for the dried fruit. The recipe calls for 150 grams, but I usually push it to 175 because I want all the slices of bread to have plenty of fruit. It's sad if you get a slice with no sultanas. Give the apricots a chop, then put them into the raisin and nut dispenser. They go in first because they're stickier, then the sultanas go on top. If your bread machine doesn't have one of these dispensers, add the dried fruit sometime towards the end of the second knead cycle, ideally when the dough is smooth and elastic, but before it starts to rise. I'm using these M&S dried apricots, by the way. They're brilliant and so juicy. Bread pan into the machine, followed by the fruit dispenser. 1 teaspoon of dried yeast into the yeast dispenser. I use Allinson's Easy Bake yeast. A final level to help prevent any sultanas from sticking to the lid. We need the whole wheat raisin program, which is menu 7 on my machine. This is me forgetting to set the size and it defaults to extra large. I'll set it to medium instead. I've accidentally used XL in the past and it's been fine. The program takes 5 hours. Just a quick thing while I remember, it's worth double checking that the program you've selected will open the dispenser. In my manual, Fruity Spelt Loaf, which is similar to this recipe, it's got a typo where it tells you to use a program that doesn't open the dispenser. So imagine my delight when I opened the bread machine and all of the fruit was still nestled cosily in the lid and the loaf had all of the spices but none of the fruit in it. It wasn't great, so check your manual if you have one. They corrected it after I complained, but I think my medal got lost in the post. My friend told me that her recent Panasonic bread maker didn't come with a manual, which sent shivers down my spine. Folks with newer Panasonic bread makers, did you get a manual? I might need to replace my bread maker soon, and I really want it to come with a manual. I know companies are pushing you to using their app or website now, and if the website was any good, I'd be all for it. But, and this is just my opinion, they're usually rubbish. They're difficult to search, the filters aren't helpful, and the instructions can be pretty unclear. The manual that came with my machine has really useful information, like details on the programs, their timings, and a whole bunch of recipes. The thing about seeing all the recipes side by side is that you can draw conclusions from them. Like, this recipe has wholemeal flour and it needs an extra 20 ml of water, or maybe I could combine this olive loaf with this pesto loaf. They've got similar ratios. It just makes me more confident to experiment, and my failure rate has been pretty low with this machine thanks to the manual. Anyway, enough grumbling, I'll show you the loaf now. The smell of bread baking is a glorious thing, but when you add fruit and spices, it's just a whole other level. This is the regular wholemeal loaf, and this is the golden loaf for comparison. If you're wondering why the regular loaf looks a bit skinnier, it's because it got squashed into a box to keep it fresh. Finally, this is a golden loaf with 100% sultanas and no apricots. Just a quick note on the timer. You can delay this bread by up to 13 hours, but the manual advises against it because you're leaving milk out at room temperature, which isn't ideal. Now, I did this for the golden loaf. I set the timer overnight and I added the milk and eggs as late as possible, and the loaf turned out fine. I lived to make this video. But whether you should do it or not, well, I'll leave that up to you. I think it depends on the climate you're in. It's British summertime here. It's warm but not boiling hot. And also the ingredients are covered, so I felt okay taking that chance. Let's talk about the texture. We've used 100% wholemeal flour, so these are loaves that are on the drier side. I can't deny that. Now, golden flour will give you a lighter texture, but I know that not everyone has easy access to it. I use marriages, which I love, and I get it from Ocado. In America, there's a King Arthur golden flour. If you only have regular wholemeal flour though, it will turn out just fine. I have used regular wholemeal plenty of times. And remember that you are probably going to eat these with butter. It's kind of similar to a tea cake, you know, the white buns that you split open and toast. This loaf does need butter. It's the price you pay for all that wholemeal flour. To me, this isn't a bread that you'll make into sandwiches or dunk into olive oil. It's more of a snack bread and it goes beautifully with a cup of tea. I kind of put it into cake territory, like for when I want something sweet, but this has a really good amount of fibre. So yes, it's bread and we're eating it with butter, but it still feels somewhat balanced to me. It also freezes well, although slice it first, and it's just a lovely thing to have on hand if you want something quick, or if you've eaten breakfast and just want a little extra. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Tanya and this is my channel Hot Cooking. There's more bread content to come, so consider subscribing if that's of interest to you. And while you're here, why not check out this video where I'll show you how to make a really easy sourdough loaf in your Panasonic bread maker.